Welcome back to our General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will delve into the dramatic events unfolding in Port Charles on Thursday, March 20th, where tensions are rising and characters are making life-altering decisions. The atmosphere in Port Charles is electric with anticipation as several storylines reach their boiling points. Let's explore the complex web of relationships and dangerous situations developing in this beloved fictional town. Valentine's precarious position. Valentine Cassadine finds himself in an increasingly dangerous situation as multiple threats converge on him. His recent actions have placed him squarely in the crosshairs of powerful enemies. During a tense encounter with Laura Collins, Valentine will make a startling revelation, warning her about hidden dangers lurking in Port Charles. Laura has to know who and what she's up against, Valentine will insist, suggesting deeper conspiracies at play. Laura won't remain passive during this exchange. She'll attempt to convince Valentine to surrender himself to authorities, possibly offering him protection in exchange. This negotiation comes at a critical time, as Valentine's life hangs in the balance with multiple threats closing in. Anna Devane, meanwhile, will experience a moment of horrifying clarity when she realizes Valentine's intended target was actually Jack Brennan, with Carly becoming an accidental victim of his poisoning plot. This revelation will send shockwaves through Anna's world, potentially altering her perspective on Valentine forever. The question remains, will Valentine escape the consequences of his actions, or is his fate already sealed? With enemies multiplying and allies dwindling, his survival seems increasingly unlikely. Sonny and Jason's deadly alliance. The partnership between Sonny Corinthos and Jason Morgan takes a sinister turn as Sonny issues a chilling directive. Upon learning about Carly's poisoning, Sonny immediately suspects Valentine's involvement and decides swift retribution is necessary. In a particularly ominous moment, Sonny will instruct Jason to make sure Brennan finishes the job. This directive reveals Sonny's willingness to outsource the vengeance while maintaining plausible deniability. The cold calculation behind this order demonstrates why Sonny remains one of Port Charles's most feared residents. Sonny's prediction that Valentine will pay a fatal price for his transgressions carries significant weight given his history of successful eliminations of enemies. The alliance between Sonny and Jason has always been built on unwavering loyalty and deadly efficiency, making this latest collaboration particularly threatening for Valentine. Brennan's revenge mission. Jack Brennan, still reeling from Carly's poisoning, embarks on his own quest for vengeance. When Carly, now awake and recovering, questions his departure from the hospital, Brennan cryptically promises to make sure this never happens again, signaling his determination to eliminate the threat personally. Brennan's military background and tactical training make him a formidable adversary. Upon discovering Valentine's visit to Sonny's residence, Brennan initiates a methodical hunt for the man he believes responsible for nearly killing Carly. This parallel revenge plot creates an interesting dynamic as both Sonny and Brennan pursue the same target independently. The convergence of these vengeful forces, Brennan's personal mission and Sonny's ordered hit, creates a deadly pincer movement around Valentine, doubling the danger he faces. Nina and Willow's complicated relationship. Amidst the life-threatening drama, Nina Reeves continues her efforts to strengthen family bonds by pressuring Willow Corinthos to reconsider her living arrangements. Nina will present Willow with an alternative proposal to moving in with Quartermaine, suggesting that Willow and the children extend their stay with her instead. This proposition highlights Nina's ongoing desire to cement her place in her daughter's life, despite their complicated history. Her persistence in forging these connections reveals a vulnerability beneath her often controlling exterior, a woman desperate to make up for lost time with her family. Willow finds herself at a crossroads, torn between establishing independence with Drew and deepening her relationship with her recently discovered mother. This decision will have significant implications for multiple family dynamics in Port Charles. Quartermaine family tensions. The Quartermaine mansion continues to be a hotbed of conflict as Tracy Quartermaine engages in yet another heated confrontation with Drew. Their power struggle intensifies when Tracy delivers a pointed warning: if Drew matches wits with her, she'll win every time. This declaration underscores Tracy's confidence in her strategic abilities and her determination to maintain control over the Quartermaine empire. Despite Drew's business acumen and growing influence, Tracy remains convinced of her superior capabilities in corporate maneuvering. The ongoing friction between these strong personalities threatens to fracture the already tenuous family unity, potentially creating vulnerabilities that rivals could exploit. As Drew navigates his personal relationship with Willow, these professional conflicts add another layer of complexity to his life. As these explosive storylines converge, Port Charles stands on the precipice of profound change. Will Valentine survive the dual threats against him? Can Nina convince Willow to choose family over independence? How will the Quartermaine power struggles resolve? Next, we will learn about the explosive situation developing between Jack Brennan, Jocelyn Jax, and Valentine Cassadine, with potential life-altering consequences for everyone involved. Jocelyn's potential as a WSB agent. The transformation of Jocelyn Jax from college student to potential WSB operative represents one of General Hospital's most intriguing character evolutions in recent memory. Despite her initial reluctance to embrace the darker aspects of espionage work, recent events suggest Joss may indeed possess the necessary qualities to succeed in this dangerous profession. Jocelyn's journey into the world of international espionage wasn't planned; it emerged from tragedy and opportunity. Her natural intelligence, quick thinking, and moral flexibility have caught the attention of WSB Director Jack Brennan, who sees in her the potential for greatness. Though she lacks formal training, Joss compensates with determination and adaptability that can't be taught in any academy. Joss may have it in her to be a super spy after all, whisper those familiar with her recent activities. Her ability to compartmentalize emotional trauma while maintaining focus on objectives suggests she possesses the psychological resilience essential for field operatives. This natural aptitude, combined with her personal connections throughout Port Charles, makes her an invaluable asset to the WSB's operations in the region. The question remains whether Jocelyn can fully embrace this new identity without losing herself in the process. The line between justice and vengeance often blurs in the world of covert operations, and Joss stands precariously on that boundary. Her moral compass, while strong, has already shown signs of recalibration following recent traumas. Brennan's leverage over Jocelyn. The complex relationship between Jack Brennan and Jocelyn creates a dangerous power dynamic that could be exploited. While Brennan has positioned himself as Jocelyn's mentor and protector, he simultaneously holds damaging information that could destroy her life and freedom. The question of whether Brennan would turn Joss in for killing Cyrus if she didn't follow Brennan's orders reveals the precarious position in which Jocelyn finds herself. This implicit threat hangs over their professional relationship, creating an undercurrent of coercion beneath Brennan's seemingly benevolent guidance. Brennan's sophisticated understanding of psychological manipulation suggests he might never need to explicitly threaten Jocelyn. Instead, he could employ subtler tactics, reminding her of their shared secrets, emphasizing her debt to him, or appealing to her desire for justice. These approaches would achieve compliance without resorting to crude blackmail that might damage their working relationship or his standing with Carly. Intelligence sources close to the WSB director indicate that Jack may be able to coerce Joss to go after Valentine without resorting to blackmail. His methods likely involve a careful mixture of appealing to Jocelyn's sense of duty, her desire for justice, and her protective instincts toward her mother, all while maintaining plausible deniability about his true intentions. This manipulation becomes particularly concerning when considering Brennan's romantic interest in Carly. His leverage over Jocelyn serves as indirect influence over Carly, creating a web of control that extends throughout the Spencer-Jax family. Carly and Brennan's complicated romance. The budding relationship between Carly Spencer and Jack Brennan introduces a fascinating parallel to Carly's previous marriage to Sonny Corinthos. Both relationships require Carly to navigate the murky ethical waters of loving a man whose professional activities often cross legal and moral boundaries. Brennan is clearly smitten with Joss' mom, according to those who have observed their interactions. This affection appears genuine, yet it's complicated by his professional responsibilities and the secrets he keeps. Carly, no stranger to complicated men, finds herself drawn to Brennan's confidence, competence, and protective nature, qualities reminiscent of Sonny but packaged in a more sophisticated, government-sanctioned framework. Just as she did during her marriage to Sonny, Carly may find herself needing to look the other way when it comes to Jack's WSB business. This willful ignorance creates a pattern in Carly's romantic history, choosing powerful men whose activities require her moral compromise. The difference lies in the justification. While Sonny's empire was built on organized crime, Brennan's actions carry the veneer of national security and legal authority. Their relationship faces an additional complication through Brennan's professional connection to Jocelyn. Carly's protective maternal instincts could conflict dramatically with her romantic feelings if she discovers Brennan has placed Jocelyn in danger or manipulated her into becoming an assassin. This potential conflict creates a powder keg of emotions waiting to explode. The moral dilemma of targeting Valentine. Jocelyn's potential assignment to eliminate Valentine Cassadine presents her with a profound moral dilemma that tests her values and newly forming professional identity. This isn't a simple case of neutralizing an obvious villain. Valentine's character contains complexities that make him a morally ambiguous target. Joss may hesitate to kill Valentine for Charlotte's sake, sources close to the situation suggest. This hesitation reveals Jocelyn's empathy and consideration of collateral damage, qualities that make her both a more humane person and potentially less effective operative. Her concern for Charlotte Cassadine demonstrates that despite recent hardships, Joss retains her capacity for compassion. The revelation that Valentine almost killed her mother could dramatically shift this calculus. Few factors could more powerfully override Jocelyn's moral reservations than a direct threat to Carly. This information, strategically deployed by Brennan, might transform Jocelyn's reluctance into righteous determination, effectively weaponizing her love for her mother. This moral quandary forces Jocelyn to confront fundamental questions about justice, punishment, and authority. Is she willing to become judge, jury, and executioner? Can the attempted murder of her mother justify taking Valentine's life? Does working for a government agency provide sufficient moral cover for assassination? These questions strike at the heart of Jocelyn's developing identity. The potential psychological consequences loom large. How will it change Joss if she pulls the trigger on Valentine? Executing a targeted killing would irrevocably alter her self-perception and potentially accelerate her transformation from college student to hardened operative. The decision represents not just a tactical choice but a defining moment in her moral development. Jocelyn's traumatic history with violence. The shadow of Cyrus Renault's death continues to loom large over Jocelyn's psyche, informing her relationship with violence and her capacity for lethal action. This formative trauma serves as both motivation and hesitation in her new role. Jocelyn was traumatized after killing Cyrus Renault in self-defense when a confrontation at his cabin escalated to life-threatening proportions. The visceral experience of taking a human life, even in self-defense, created psychological wounds that continue to influence her decision-making and emotional responses. The fact that Cyrus menacingly came at her with an axe provided clear justification for her actions, yet the moral weight remains. Brennan's immediate response to this situation, having his crew show up at the cabin and clean the crime scene, demonstrated both his efficiency and his morally questionable methods. This intervention, while protecting Jocelyn from legal consequences, also entangled her in a web of obligation and secrecy that Brennan can now leverage. The timing of Brennan's recruitment is particularly significant. He approached Jocelyn at her most vulnerable immediately after the traumatic killing, when her emotional defenses were compromised and her need for guidance and protection was at its peak. This calculated approach reveals Brennan's manipulative tactics and strategic opportunism. While Joss may have wanted Cyrus to pay for killing Dex Heller and Sam McCall, her desire for justice differs fundamentally from a capacity for calculated killing. As sources close to the situation observe, she's not a natural-born killer. This distinction becomes crucial when considering whether she can transition from reactive self-defense to proactive assassination. Brennan's deception and manipulation. The foundation of Jack Brennan's relationship with Jocelyn appears built on a calculated deception designed to secure her services while managing her moral reservations. This manipulation raises serious questions about his character and intentions. Evidence suggests that Jack Brennan may have lied to Jocelyn Jacks when he told her she wouldn't have to kill anyone while working at the WSB. This fundamental misrepresentation, if proven true, would constitute a profound breach of trust and a sophisticated recruitment tactic. By telling Joss what she wanted to hear to convince her to work for him, Brennan demonstrated a willingness to manipulate vulnerable individuals to achieve his objectives. Brennan's recruitment pitch emphasized that her role in the organization would be to take down the bad guys, creating a morally palatable framework for Jocelyn's participation. This framing allowed her to view her potential work through a lens of justice rather than violence, making her cooperation more likely. The vague terminology of taking down conveniently obscured the lethal realities often involved. The potential assignment to eliminate Valentine represents a dramatic departure from this promised role. Rather than supporting investigations or gathering intelligence, Jocelyn would be asked to directly end a human life, precisely the activity she was assured she would avoid. This bait-and-switch tactic reveals Brennan's prioritization of operational objectives over honesty with his recruits. More concerning still is the possibility that Brennan views this assignment as a test to see if Joss can follow orders. Using assassination as an evaluation method demonstrates a disturbing callousness toward both Jocelyn's psychological well-being and Valentine's life. It suggests Brennan views people primarily as assets to be tested and deployed rather than individuals with moral agency. Valentine's dangerous escalation. The rapidly deteriorating situation between Jack Brennan and Valentine Cassadine has reached a critical juncture following Valentine's near-fatal attack on Carly Spencer. This escalation transforms their professional rivalry into a personal vendetta with potentially lethal consequences. Valentine's decision to target Carly with poisoned champagne represents a significant miscalculation that dramatically altered the stakes of his conflict with Brennan. While Brennan tried to stop her from drinking the fatal bubbly, his intervention came too late, and Carly collapsed from the effects of the poison. This attack on a civilian, particularly one with whom Brennan shares a personal connection, crossed a line that the WSB director cannot ignore. The poisoning incident follows a pattern of escalation between these two formidable opponents. Intelligence sources confirm that Valentine previously tried to kill him when he and Carly were in Germany, but Carly came to his rescue. This history of mutual targeting has now evolved into a potentially lethal game of cat and mouse, with each man seeking to eliminate the other before falling victim himself. Valentine's actions have placed him in an extraordinarily precarious position. As analysts note, wrong move, Valentine. By targeting Carly, he has provoked not only Brennan's professional response but his personal vengeance. The WSB director is now motivated by both duty and emotion, a combination that makes him particularly dangerous. The failure of previous elimination attempts, including when Colette Moreau failed at assassinating Valentine, demonstrates Valentine's resilience and resourcefulness. However, his survival skills will be tested like never before as he faces the full resources of the WSB directed by a personally motivated Brennan. Brennan's protective response. Jack Brennan's reaction to the attack on Carly reveals both his personal feelings for her and his operational approach to threats. His response combines professional calculation with emotional motivation in a potentially volatile mixture. Sources close to the situation report that now, he'll return the favor after Carly previously saved his life in Germany. This reciprocity suggests Brennan values loyalty and feels a personal obligation to protect those who have protected him. However, his methods of protection extend far beyond conventional security measures. As the head of the WSB, Brennan can't take any chances when dealing with threats of this magnitude. His position grants him access to extraordinary resources and operational latitude, allowing him to take steps to eliminate his enemy through official channels. This institutional power makes him a particularly dangerous adversary, as his actions carry the implicit backing of government authority. Brennan's motivation has evolved beyond professional duty. Valentine has now harmed someone Brennan cares for deeply, crossing a personal boundary that transforms this conflict. As insiders note, that's where he will draw the line. This emotional investment suggests Brennan will pursue Valentine with unusual determination and potentially employ methods that exceed standard WSB protocols. The decision to potentially involve Jocelyn in this vendetta indicates how personal this matter has become for Brennan. By considering the assignment of Carly's daughter to eliminate the man who nearly killed her mother, Brennan creates a poetic but disturbing symmetry to his revenge. This approach demonstrates his strategic thinking even in matters of personal vengeance.